for Views from the Stands with your hosts, Stevie B, G-Mike, and BC. Let's get it poppin', y'all.
Welcome in. It is Views from the Stands, and I'm your host, Stevie B, Steve Brennan, and it's just the two of us now. We got Mr. G Mike. How are you feeling tonight? Because we have a lot to talk about, my friend.
Feeling good, man. Mass surprise with the damn trades that went on, man. I know we're going to talk about that, and then obviously excited for the NBA Finals that start tomorrow. So I'm doing
Absolutely.
good, man.
Do you feel like the NFL was like, you know what? That's cute. You guys have this championship game going up, and we have a lot of big marquee teams. But hold my beer for a second because we got some stuff to talk about. You know, so like NFL will never let anybody ever trump them out of having the headlines. I think, man. But we got a lot to get into tonight, and before we get into all that, we want to give a special shout out to Podmatch. Thank you very much for hooking us up with guests, and we had to reschedule it a little bit tonight. We will definitely have some guests on at the end of the week. But Podmatch, thank you very much for everything you've done. If you're thinking about kind of doing any kind of podcasting, look up Podmatch. We've been able to meet all kinds of great people and do a lot of interesting interviews with people that we would never ever get a chance to meet. So if you're thinking about thinking about doing any kind of podcasting, look up Podmatch for sure. G Mike, you got anything you want to give out to the people real quick before we get started on the show?
Nah, man, just ready to get this going, man. Again, like I said, mass surprise with the stuff that went down.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into some news.
News from the world of sports.
All right, and if you've been living under a rock, then you didn't hear, but this one is massive. Myles Garrett, the Defensive Player of the Year, just got traded to the Los Angeles Rams. This deal was in exchange for pass rusher Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a 2029 third-round pick. The Los Angeles Rams will get Myles Garrett. G-Mike, what was your first initial reaction when you saw this? I felt like the ESPN got hacked or somebody got hacked that this actually did not happen. But G-Mike, what was your initial reaction to this, my friend?
Dude, I literally looked at my phone and I was like, I looked back to see where my boss was at because me and him just talk about sports all the time. I'm like, dude. And he wasn't there. There was no one to be found. I was just like this. Going like that. I was going crazy, man. It was freaking insane, man, when I read that, bro. Big time.
All right, well, let's go ahead and break down the trade here. I feel like this trade actually works out for both parties. I know it sounds kind of crazy for the Rams, considering what they all gave up for it. But I really do feel like this is going to work out pretty well for them. The Rams are clearly in that let's win now mode. And I think they're looking at this as if we have 2 years. We got Stafford on paper for 2 more years. Depending on health situations, let's go ahead and get Myles Garrett. They've also they realized that their defense was one of the things that were lacking. Obviously, their offense was not last year, had a great offense. But let's go ahead and see what we can do. And the other thing is that they have Myles Garrett now up until the 2030 season as well under contract. So that's a big thing for them as well. Do you think this trade is even, or do you think that Cleveland made the right move? What's your thoughts on this one? I mean, because Myles Garrett, let's face it, is a generational piece.
Definitely. I mean, he was their best player for sure before he got shipped out. I think Cleveland did good on his part because of the fact he was wasting his career there. Like, let's be serious. The Browns weren't really going to do much in a division that is very, very tough where people think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are saying otherwise. He's saying that this is the best roster he's had in years, and they went to a Super Bowl. So the Steelers, obviously, they're not what the Steelers were before, but they're always a team, the mediocre stance where they try to get into the playoffs and they never win a game. So, you know, it's hard for the Cleveland Browns to actually get into the wild card, more or less win the division, right? So you're wasting Myles Garrett's career. So I think they did right by him, getting a young, talented Jared Verse defensive end, got several picks for him as well. You know, Jared Verse, I'm sure he does not want to be in Cleveland. I'm sure he was upset. The fact that he was leaving LA after the phenomenal defensive rookie of the year season that he had last year as well, getting them to the NFC Championship, almost making it to the big game. It sucks for him. He's going to have to go to Cleveland. You know, maybe he doesn't think like that, but in my opinion, if it was me, sheesh. Now leaving LA to go to Cleveland, I'll be pissed.
Besides the location, obviously, most people would choose LA over Cleveland without a doubt. There's not like breaking news, but I don't know. Cleveland has their defense last year was one of the best in the league, really. Now, granted, that was with Myles Garrett there, but they also drafted, they got Mason Graham, you got Jared Verse. They have something that they're brewing out there, and I think that these picks have finally started to work out for them. Clearly, they probably got to figure out whether they got Shedeur, Deshaun Watson, and 9 other gazillion quarterbacks they have. But having said that, the defense is still going to be okay, and I think that this works out good for them because they got younger in Jared Verse. Jared Verse is clearly not Myles Garrett, but he's 25, considering that Myles Garrett is older. So you have a good piece that you can start to build around again, plus you already had the defense that you had last year. So I think that Cleveland made the right move here, and I think I like what you were saying as well, that they did right by him, and I think that this has been the writing on the wall for the last season and a half, that the rumor's been kind of spewing around, but you also can go about it the right way, and I feel like that they've been talking behind the scenes. If you notice, he didn't really show up to any kind of training camps or haven't been really involved with Cleveland at all, but I think that they did this the right way, and probably basically said, hey, get what you can for me. I'm still a generational piece. I'm still a name, and get an overhaul for me. I've been here my entire career. We both know that you guys are not ready, and I don't want to waste my entire career not being able to at least play in meaningful games. So I think Cleveland did right by him, and they were able to get a lot of pieces. And let's face it, I mean, they need all the pieces they can get, but if they turn these into the right picks, this is going to work out very well for Cleveland as well. So I think both can be true, that you're losing a generation apiece, but you're also getting a good overhaul back for him. There we go, the Luka Doncic trade where you didn't get much back for it. This actually makes sense what you get for a superstar player. But I also wanted to bring up something that we got viewers checking in, talking about it, and I hope this happens here. So the rumor is that Aaron Donald is talking about coming back now to run it back with the Rams to play along Myles Garrett. How ridiculous would that be? You know what? While we're at it, let's throw Cam Jordan and Von Miller in there just to rotate this out because they're all free agents as well. Let's just make this all happen here and have the Rams go crazy. Do you think Aaron Donald could come back? And if they do, I feel bad for anybody that has to face that defense, man.
I think he can come back. I don't know if he will. The way that he's been talking about it on several podcasts is like it seems like he doesn't want to come back to playing football. He'd rather just work out, be with his family. And, you can't fault him for that. But if he does decide to come back, I think the Rams are going to be NFC Championship favorites and maybe even Super Bowl favorites, depending on who they face. But, dude, they got a star-studded offense. You got Myles Garrett now, Defensive Player of the Year twice, where Aaron Donald was a Defensive Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken, twice as well. Like, those two on the same defensive line, very unstoppable. And not to mention that they got Trent McDuffie, where it helps their secondary, where they were lacklusting last season, and especially in the NFC Championship game, where the Seattle Seahawks proved, they could score over the top or on any of their corners and safeties.
Yeah, I think the defense was clearly the issue that they were having, and so they're bringing in obviously Myles Garrett, they got McDuffie, and they also got the other corner from the Chiefs as well. So I think that they're scoring that one up. But I do have to ask this one about the Rams, which would be awesome to see if Aaron Donald could come back and play. It's not the fact that physically, it's just more mentally, does he actually want to go through the grind? That dude doesn't need to go through training camp or OTAs or any of that stuff like that. Give that guy a week and he'll be fine. But my other question would be, is you're going back to the Rams in this one. If they had this in the works for a little while and I'm not sure how long this was, do you think that makes sense now with the Ty Simpson trade now, or a pick in the draft, or should they have went with like Lemon, like I've been saying, and got one more offensive piece if they were already going to get Myles Garrett possibly? Do you think that they knew back then, or do you think that looks even worse now that they went with Simpson and consider they're going all in for 2 years?
When it happened, I liked the Simpson trade because of the fact of we didn't really know what was going to happen with Matthew Stafford, right? We didn't know the extension was coming. I'm pretty sure they knew, but we didn't know, right? The fans, the analysts, the media. Now we see that they give him the extension, which is 2 years, and it's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense on why you took a quarterback with the 10th pick in the NFL draft, where you could have gone more defense. I would have gone more secondary just in case someone gets injured. Knock on wood.
I think it was the 13th pick. I think it was the 13th pick, but I would have went offense.
Yeah, it was around there. No matter what. But I don't think, to me, in my opinion, I don't think their offense needs anything. Maybe you want to look at that whole Puka Nacua situation and what's going on and, off the field issues. Maybe you want to draft a receiver because of that. All right, cool. I get it. I think the running backs are straight. I think the rest of the receivers are good. The quarterback position obviously is great. Maybe you want to get some more offensive line. Yeah, sure. But I think the defense is what really was the weakness for them. You saw it throughout the regular season at times. You saw it in the playoffs. You saw it in the NFC Championship game, which is the reason they didn't get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I could go with the defense in there as well. I personally, I've said that before. I would have went with the wide receiver Lemon whenever they had him right there. They could have grabbed him, and I think that would have been a great piece to have with Puka, Lemon, and Devontae Adams. That would have been a ridiculous thing, and especially if this already was in the works, possibly. I don't know how far back they were talking or what was going on with that, but maybe they didn't know, maybe they didn't realize it was going to come to fruition that he was available. So let's just go. Let's go long story here, bigger picture here. Let's go 4 years from now. What are we saying about this trade? Are we saying that the Cleveland Browns did the right move, or is the Rams like, man, well, what did we do here? We gave up all this. What, in your opinion, do you think that this is going to transpire into?
I think both teams in 4 years are going to look back at it and be like, we'll do the trade again. Because for the Rams, I think, they're just maybe one more piece away from actually competing with the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game again, and they probably go to the Super Bowl. If not right now, they probably beat them right now with all the pieces that the Seattle Seahawks lost, where their Super Bowl MVP is now with the Kansas City Chiefs. So they've lost 2 defensive stars and they lost 1 offensive star, so that could really hinder them, right? And then when you look to the Browns, they really need a lot of help on the offensive side, especially at the quarterback position, which is why they drafted 2 quarterbacks last year with Shadur Sanders and always forget the other guy's name, Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. They always need help at the quarterback position. It's always been their Achilles heel for the last 20 years. So the more picks that you have, the more chances you got at trying to get a good quarterback, right? I think their running backs are straight. I think the receivers, might need a little help. I don't think you want to rely on Jerry Jeudy himself for sure. But when it comes to the defensive side, I think they've been good for the last 3, 4, 5 years. I don't think they need that much help there. But the extra picks are going to go a long way. And obviously, Jared Verse is a stud. And like you said, he's only 25 years old.
Right. No, I agree. And I think that they're both going to look back, and I think this trade is actually going to work out for both teams. I mean, let's break it down here. 2027, if this trade actually works, Myles Garrett is exactly what they think it is. Now it's the push that they needed. They'll be picking, 32? And that their first pick in 2027 might be 32 if they actually win the Super Bowl, or if they're in there 31. So in the late in the draft. Let's go 2028. Again, Myles Garrett will still be there. Matthew Stafford, if this is still working, it's going to be another late round pick in the second round. I could get behind that. The third round pick, yes, you always usually use them as a starter, but it's a third round pick. You can also move that around as well, and especially because the Rams, we already know F the picks with the Rams. They're not worried about these picks, so they have some bold, to say the least, GMs and people that are running the team. I like it, that the fact that they're not scared to make moves. They try, and they are never scared to try anything and make it work out. So I really do think that this is going to go down as one of the biggest blockbuster trades in recent memory, in the NFL at least. And on top of it too, I really just feel like this is going to actually work out for both franchises. Even though you're losing a centerpiece in Myles Garrett, I think he's going to work out pretty well in LA, and I think that Jared Verse is a great player that you can start to build around with what they got going now with the young players, Mason Graham, and the other rookie. I can't remember his name at the moment, but they got a good thing going in Cleveland. I think they're just missing a couple of small pieces that could really make them improve, and I think getting all these picks, like you were saying, really can improve them a lot. So I think it's going to go down. Go ahead.
I'm just glad that I saw some post a little bit earlier before we started the show, or some rumors that the Eagles were trying to go for Myles Garrett and give up Jalen Carter. I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to know what the other offers were, because I'm assuming it involved the player. But I would love to know like what the other teams were and what they were offering and
Yeah,
what
I'm sure
teams
there
were
was more
actually
teams.
in play. Because I also heard the Patriots were trying to making a big move too, trying to get Myles Garrett, and we're jumping into it now. The other trade that they made to AJ Brown that I heard that they were trying to do make maneuvers to be able to get both of them. But having said that, moving on to the other major news out of the NFL today, or excuse me, yesterday, it finally happened. It was one of the biggest unkept, unquiet secrets in the NFL. AJ Brown was officially traded from the Philadelphia Eagles to the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are going to get a first-round pick and also get a fifth-round pick in 2027. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth-round pick for the New England Patriots for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, man. This one I think had to happen. I think that AJ Brown was clearly unhappy in Philadelphia. New England needed a number one receiver. Stephon Diggs was for the age that he was at. He was actually pretty good last year. Was over 1,000 yards. Stephon Diggs is not AJ Brown. AJ Brown is a absolute difference maker in the league. Do you like the trade for both teams, or who do you think won, or is there another one that's just, hey, it makes sense, let's do this?
I mean, for sure, for both teams, I mean, you got a disgruntled wide receiver, in my opinion, sometimes diva, that was just not happy with where he was at, and he wanted to get up out of there because he wanted to get more targets. Being in the Eagles, where they have a bunch of pieces that they can go to, and most of the time they're rushing the ball. And if they're not rushing the ball, they're probably even giving it to Saquon on an out route. If not, you got Devontae Smith, you got Dallas Goedert, and then they drafted Lemon now. So once they drafted Lemon, I think the writing was on the wall that they were going to trade A.J. Brown. It's like you can't have all these receivers and a great running back with a game-managing quarterback and believe that A.J. Brown is going to get more than 4 targets. So he wanted more targets, and Josh McDaniels is notorious to give the top receivers some hella targets, like Devontae Adams when he went to the Raiders. He had a 1,500-yard season. He had 16 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns with over 200 catches or something like that. And he started going crazy. And that was with Derek Carr. I mean, now you got Drake May. He's looking like a future superstar quarterback, and I think it's good for the Patriots for sure. Getting a top receiver like A.J. Brown, give him 10 targets a game, which is what he's going to be happy with. But now, if he doesn't ball and the Patriots don't do good, and next thing you know, the Eagles are Super Bowl contending, going up against the LA Rams that we were just talking about in the NFC Championship, and then going into the Super Bowl, where is he going to stand? Is he going to be happy that he's on a team that's not winning, but he's getting a lot of targets? Or he's going to be upset because he's like, damn, my ex-team just went to the Super Bowl and I'm here lollygagging on my couch.
Yeah, no, so there's something I like about this trade for the Eagles, and I love Howie Roseman, how he's always usually, I know it sucks for being a Cowboys fan, but I think Howie Roseman's always seems like he's always one step ahead of everybody. And I like the fact that it was a 2028 first round pick. Because that goes to where they could possibly be not doing as well because the trade didn't necessarily work out. So I think that was kind of a smart move to do it as a delayed pick opposed to trying to get the 2027 pick. And what everybody keeps on saying is this 2027 draft is supposed to be remarkable. So I think that was one of the deal breakers in there, that it was never going to happen with the 2027. There, a lot of people keep on ranting and raving about this 2027 draft coming up. But having said that, I think it's a smart move to do it towards the tail end, because that means New England might not, maybe AJ Brown and them aren't getting along as well. And the writing's on the wall and it's not really working out. That might give them a better pick. So I thought that was kind of a smart move in there. Do you go with the narrative that AJ Brown checks out and he's a diva, or not? Because I kind of feel like I could see both sides. I feel like that in Philadelphia, I think that he just wasn't being utilized the way that he can and should have been. They're not necessarily a passing offensive team. At least that's what it was towards the end in last year. And I think that he's the type of guy that you need to get him involved, even if it's check down passes or something. He's one of the best players you have on your team, and yet you're not finding creative ways to get him the ball. So I kind of understand the check out point, but then the other hand too, it's like be a grown up and just suck it up. You're on a winning team. You were just to the Super Bowl, a year ago or so. Like, this isn't like your team is garbage. You got a good franchise and a good team around you. And him and Jalen Hurts are supposed to be boys. So, what's your thoughts now? Do you think do you go with the narrative that he's a diva, or do you think it's just more I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think it's a yes and no answer. I think it's more of a percentage question, right? I wouldn't say he's 100% a diva. No, I don't think that at all. Now, maybe he's 30%, 20%. Yeah, because in my eyes and in my heart, I'd rather win than anything else. Like, I rather like anytime I would play a sport, like I'd rather be a role player on a winning team than to be the person that they depended on and we're losing. Like, I'd rather win. That's just the way that I feel, right? He probably wants to win as well, but maybe after already getting a chip with the Eagles, maybe he took a step back from that. And he's like, I want to be utilized more. You got a superstar running back in Saquon Barkley. I understand why the Eagles are running the ball 20 times a game or giving him 5 targets a game, because he's such a great running back. And especially with the offensive line he had his first year, which is why he rushed for 2,000 yards. A.J. Brown, he took a back seat to that, and he was just like, all right, whatever. He ended up winning a chip because Saquon Barkley was there. No, it wasn't all Saquon Barkley, because Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal Super Bowl game. But Saquon, for most of the part of the season, literally carried that team to victories. So depending on what you want, if you want to be utilized more, you want more targets, then it is what it is, man. More power to you. You know, that's why everybody has free will, and you get what you want, right? America, baby. But
I feel like the answer could definitely be two things. It's
a two-sided sword, double-edged sword.
Yeah, I think it's one of those questions and answers, really, that both things can be correct. That he can be completely a diva, but he also could be a difference maker, and you want him on your team. You don't really. It was just more of like the perception. I feel like it was, because in the locker room, it didn't sound like, I didn't really remember hearing too much reports that he was like a bad teammate. The players seemed like they liked him a lot. The thing is, I think this is a little bit different than when he was in Philadelphia, is that he has made it very clear ever since he was apparently a kid that he wanted to play for the Patriots. Like, that was his dream. This is where he wanted to be. He had like Mike Vrabel jerseys. He's made it very clear, like, Edelman was his guy. He's been on like their podcasts, and he's talked very highly that he's always wanted to be a Patriot. And if you hear him in this press conference, he's like saying that he was out there with the teammates and just looking around and found himself in awe. Like, man, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I've wanted this for so long, to be here. I'm a Patriot. So maybe the mindset is a little bit different this time, that this is exactly where I want to be. I already got the championships. I got that on my resume already, and I'm exactly where I want to be. So it also helps too that Vrabel is different than Sirianni. Vrabel reminds me more of like an A.J. Brown style guy, that he's not going to take any crap, and he's going to let A.J. Brown know, hey, you're acting like an idiot out there, or something like that, where Sirianni just always kind of seemed like he was standoffish, where Vrabel's more got that respect. And I don't feel like that Sirianni and him ever really got along. And I feel like Sirianni kind of rubs people the wrong way sometimes for the Eagles. But Vrabel's very much like a Dan Campbell, where they demand respect, and or they probably will close the doors and be like, all right, what do you got to say to me, or something, So I think that's good. That type of approach will probably work out a little bit better for an alpha male like A.J. Brown seems to be. And he's really not going to have to fight for the alpha male in the room. Devontae Smith is a damn good receiver. It was a great 1A. I mean, they were 1A, 1B, if you even want to call it that. But Devontae, I think, is a damn good receiver that is probably a 1A without a doubt. So I'm going to be interested to see how he is able to respond after this as well. Having, a bunch of younger players, and Devontae, I think, is going to have a big season this year with the Eagles as well. So again, I think this one could actually work out pretty well for both teams. Like, these trades were blockbuster moves without a doubt. But I think that both teams, it was a necessity that they needed to take care of. New England really needed a number one for Drake May, and he has an actual true number one now. And they had New England, let's not forget, they did go to the Super Bowl last year with that offense that they had. So now Drake May has an absolute. Well, I mean, the schedule helped. I mean, let's not go around it. The schedule
helped a lot.
I'm just saying, like, New England, it did. But Drake May had a pretty damn good season with, going to say, an older Stephon Diggs and a bunch of guys. Now you have a dog in the room in there, and that it's going to be interesting to see what they're able to do with that. And I think Drake May is going to flourish. I think he's going to take another step up this season. I expect the big things from them too. Just as a side thing here, something like that, what do you think about the A.J. Brown, Drake May stack in fantasy?
I think it's going to be good, man. I think Drake May is going to go, he's going into his third year. He's going to be way more comfortable. A.J. Brown is going to get those targets. Like I said, Josh McDaniels loves to give the top receivers their touches. So for sure he's going to get those targets. I wouldn't doubt if he's scoring maybe a touchdown every other game or every game, honestly.
Yeah, well, like I said before, what do you think about like fantasy-wise? Do you think that would be an awesome stack or anything like that, the A.J. Brown and Drake May stack?
Definitely.
Yeah, I do too, man. I can't wait for the fantasy football to start back up, man. Screw the regular season. Let's just get some fantasy football going. All right, well, we wanted to also give a quick shout out on our end, real quick, to our store, VFTSstore.com, baby. If you want to get any kind of merch, any kind of memorabilia that represents our show, it helps us out tremendously, and it's all great quality stuff. It doesn't take very long to get, and it's very nice stuff. G-Mike just created his own stuff on the site as well, so you can start getting the G-Line, G-Mike brand. I got some stuff
G-Line
on there.
Oh,
the G-Line.
All right.
So that's thank you. That's the November 29th. That master's degree is going to be coming handy with that marketing. So, but having said that. Anyways, yeah. So if you guys ever want to get a part of Views from the Stands, it truly helps us out a bunch. Views from the Stands, VFTSstore.com. Very simple, very easy to get to. I guarantee you'll enjoy the products, and they're very good quality stuff. So, BG Mike, you want to go ahead and give a shout out to Podmatch? No, sorry, Varsity. Sorry.
Yeah, man, Varsity Sports Nation. Bro, great app when it comes to any type of high school, collegiate sports in South Florida and Central Florida. They also have sports talk shows on pro sports like NBA, NFL, MLB, UFC, NHL. We got the Stanley Cup Stanley Cup Finals going on right now between the Carolina Hurricanes and Las Vegas Golden Knights, where it's tied 2-2 in the second period. Varsity Sports Nation, you could find it on Roku, Android store, App Store, on Mac, iPhone, whatever you have, you can find it on there. You can find our show on there as well. You'll find a lot of great talk shows, but a lot of different variety of different sports and different people going on, just talking nonsense about sports.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we got another big event coming up that's starting tomorrow. So let's go ahead and jump into those NBA finals.
It's from the hardwood with VFTS.
Man. We have
the Knicks, baby.
We have the New York Knicks versus the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals starting tomorrow night. This series is going to be extremely compelling for so many different reasons, and we're going to break down just who we think is going to have the advantages, who we think is going to have a standout series, and ultimately who's going to win the championship this year. So, G-Mike, let's go ahead and get this started. Who do you think has the better offense going right now, the New York Knicks or the San Antonio Spurs? Who are you going to give the edge to?
Before I give my answer, I just want to state that ChatGPT be making Wemby look like a Dominican. My boy look at Dominicano ahí, el tigre. Look at him. Crazy.
He's a French Dominican.
Yeah, right. Dude, I think the New York Knicks have a better offense. I think their starting five, they just click on all cylinders. They have been for the last few years when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, right? Throughout this whole playoffs, they found it after game 2, game 3 against the Atlanta Hawks, and they didn't look back. They haven't lost a game in like over a month and a half. They've been going crazy on the offensive end. Their starting five have been scoring 10+ points for the last 4 games. I think the whole Eastern Conference Finals series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think they all scored 10+ points on the starting five. They just look like a cohesive unit. They know what they're doing. They run the great pick and roll. Jalen Brunson is a clutch player, and he just goes crazy. Even on the ISOs, he'll kill anybody that's in front of him. OG Anunoby showing that he's a great two-way player. But on the offensive side, he's staying up in the corner, hitting those 3 balls or driving into the lane and dunking on people. And then Cat, he's being more aggressive, Steve. We've always talked about this, how he goes passive aggressive and he fades away. And now he's being more aggressive. He's playing aggressive now. That's what we like to see, and this is one of the reasons why the New York Knicks got to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, you start hanging out with Timothy Chalamet, all of a sudden you get more aggressive. It's kind of wild.
Swag. You got that swag.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one as well and say that I think the New York Knicks have the better offense. But on paper, actually, by the season stats, actually, the San Antonio Spurs average 119 points a game as the New York Knicks only average 116 points a game. But that's regular season stats. I think if you've watched any of the playoffs lately, you have to admit that the New York Knicks is just on some sort of absolute tear and heater going right now. So I don't think anybody wants any part of that offense right now. So I will agree with you that we'll go New York Knicks up 1-0 on San Antonio right now. So let's go ahead and go defense. Defense right now, I'm going to have to go just because you got Victor Wembanyama. I'm going to have to go defensively. I'm going to go with San Antonio, even though the Knicks have been really, really playing some great defense, if not arguably the best defense in the playoffs this entire playoff stretch here. But I think overall, once it's all said and done, whenever we're just in this series, I'm going to have to take San Antonio to give them the edge to even up the 1-1 in my book for defense. What about you?
I got the Spurs as well. I don't think the Knicks have faced a defensive team like this all playoffs. And then especially that Stephon Castle's going to play defense on Jalen Brunson. I think, I'm not going to say you're going to stop Brunson. I don't think anybody can stop Brunson. I think he's too much of a good offensive weapon to actually stop him. He has a great 3 ball. He drives into the lane. He'll do a fadeaway on you if he has to. He'll create his own shot while driving to the lane and trying to get a layup, brush off you, and fade to the right or fade to the left, depending on how he's going to the basket. But Stephon Castle, man, he's a great defender. He'll get up in your face, pause, and he won't let you get any breath of fresh air. Definitely.
So we're going to go ahead and even that out at 1-1-1. If you go by regular season stats, the San Antonio Spurs actually allowed 105 points, when the New York Knicks only allowed 100 points. So, again, that's regular season. Now, not saying that the Knicks don't have good defense, because they've definitely, in this playoff, really stepped their defense up and continued on that one as well. So I think that's an interesting aspect to this game here. All right, let's go with the bench. Who do you think has a better bench going right now?
I think the Spurs have a better bench. I like the way that Dylan Harper has been playing, even though Miles McBride on the other side for the New York Knicks, he's been playing pretty good as well. But to me, Dylan Harper just looks like a 4-5 year vet when he's a rookie. Like the intelligence, the way that he plays with patience, he selects his shots, he doesn't rush anything. I think it's just better overall. Another guy off of the bench for them too, Luke Cornet. He could do some damage as well. We're trying to get a lot of rebounds and making some good defensive hustle plays. That you saw one play in Game 7 that was actually, in my opinion, the most crucial moment of that game that switched the whole momentum around and just got the Spurs to go up by like 6-7 with 30 seconds left in the game. So I think their bench is more well put in the sense of the matter.
Yeah, so I like San Antonio's bench. Don't get me wrong at all. Dylan Harper was preseason my rookie of the year pick over my guy Cooper Flagg. Granted, that did not clearly happen, but Dylan Harper has played fantastic. So that was my pick in there. So I got love for San Antonio's bench. But I'm actually going to take the Knicks in this one. I think Mitchell Robinson means a lot, even though I know he's going to have the pinky issue. But I think he's going to be able to still maintain and play through it. He's a tough athlete. But it's also, if you look at how the Spurs play, whenever Wemby goes to the bench and that bench unit comes in, their whole dynamic kind of changes around a lot. So I'm actually going to give the advantage to New York as far as bench play goes in this one because it doesn't seem like they miss a beat if Jalen Brunson goes on the bench or, I just feel like that they're still able to maintain if they're starting to make their rotations. And in San Antonio, you can kind of tell, and it's almost like a countdown timer on the scoreboard that how many more minutes down until Wemby can come back in to save the team or something. So they just play so much different whenever Wemby's not out there. So I'm going to actually give the benefit to New York, in my opinion, on this one. So I think that's like some of the biggest issues I think that's going to come up with the teams in there. I think the bench is going to go to New York for me on this one. I go to defense, I'm going to give it to San Antonio. And offense, I'm going to give it back to the Knicks. So having said that, that puts for me some of my key factors, New York Knicks up 2-1, in which that's why I'm also picking the New York Knicks to win the series. I'm actually going to take the Knicks in 6. I think that they're just playing on a heater right now that no one's really seen in many, many years. I think San Antonio will become what everybody thought Oklahoma City was going to be with the dynasty, with Victor, and these guys are just going to gel so much better. So I think that it's just one more year before the San Antonio wins probably for the next 20 years. But I'm actually going to give it to the Knicks. I think that they are hungry. Jalen Brunson is my guy, and I love the cohesive unit that the New York Knicks / Villanova Wildcats are playing with right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and take New York Knicks to win the series in 6.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Spurs. I never really thought any Eastern Conference team was going to be the Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder. That defense paralysis in a 7-game series from Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle put together is going to be crucial, in my opinion. If De'Aaron Fox can somehow heal his ankles, because he has 2 messed up ankles that he's playing on, and still going out there and showing his force and giving his dominance. He scored 15 points in that game 7. If he could go out there and lead them in the right direction, I think they could get some good offense paralysis out of him. I think Julian Champagnie, too, I think he could hit a lot of threes, especially at home where the San Antonio Spurs have the home court advantage. So if they go to game 7, it's going to be on the Spurs court. Like I said, Dylan Harper off the bench is just going to be dynamic for them. He probably won't have a good whole series, but I think he'll have 1 or 2 games that he can be dominant and show that he's going to be the X factor for the Spurs. And then just having Wemby down on the block, rim protecting, it's going to be a whole different ball game. You saw it with Shea. Shea was having a lot of trouble when he would go into the basket and they would have to kick it out, try to find someone with 3. And, Alex Caruso was hitting. Cason Wallace was hitting. But then a lot of other people weren't hitting where, I wanted to allude to this, but this man, Chet, I know we're talking about the Knicks and Spurs, right quick. I'm going to do a little sidebar right here. This man, Chet Holmgren, soft, charming.
Yeah,
he's in Walmart. Go to Walmart and go get some damn toilet paper. They got Chet Holmgren right next to the teddy bear, charming.
They need to change his name to Scott for that one-ply toilet paper, bro.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was just wild. I don't know what happened, if he was shell-shocked, what that was. That's unheard of to me. Yeah, especially with all the players that they have, and if they got to make some moves, are they keeping him? Because SGA came out and was very, very adamant and very supportive of his teammate. Don't know if that was just because of the moment or what, but do you think, because Oklahoma City is in the next year or so, 2 years, going to have to figure some of this stuff out? You can't keep all of these guys unless they're able to work out deals to be able to work to it. But it's very unlikely that they're going to be able to keep all these guys. But do you move Chet after that performance or what? I mean, I don't even know what that was.
I don't think after that performance you move him. I think it was just obviously he didn't have a great series. He had a decent series at best. He had a horrible game 7 for sure, but that doesn't paint the whole picture of the series, right? I think not having J-Dub was a big difference maker as well. When J-Dub's on the court is different. A lot of people will say that the Thunder were better with him not in the lineup during the playoffs and all of that, but that's just because they had to pick it up and they had to play without him and they had to adjust. But J-Dub is a dope player for the Oklahoma City Thunder, where a lot of people would say that he is the second best option on that team, where obviously on paper right now this season it was Chet Holmgren because he got all NBA. I know that he was thrown in there because there were some players that couldn't get it, like LeBron James, but it was an all NBA player. And I know J-Dub has some injuries as well where he didn't play some of the season for sure, where that comes into account. But I think with him on the floor throughout the whole playoffs, throughout that whole 7-game series in the Western Conference Finals, it could have gone a little bit different. Remember, the Spurs only won by 8, and Chet only had 4 points on 2 shots taken. If Chet had 10 points and maybe J-Dub was in there and he had 10 points, Oklahoma wins by like what, 6, 8? So who knows? I don't think they should break it up, but if they do, I think they should go for Giannis. Giannis will be the best player right now to put in front of Victor Wembanyama. Pause. Hand up in his face. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to be doing what he was doing on Chet Holmgren. The only thing is, it might be a rental because next season, not this season, the season after, he will be a free agent. So they have to really convince him to stay in Oklahoma City, where I think he might want to go somewhere else, man, where it's sunny and hot. We got the sand, we got the water, we got the palm trees, you feel me?
Someone should make a song about that. What's that? Where were you talking about? Like, oh, Miami.
You feel me? You feel me?
Yeah. Either way, man, I have to give a shout out to both teams, and that Game 7 was awesome. Besides Chet's performance, that whole series was one of the best series seen in a long time. It was traditional good basketball. Say what you want about the fouls. It is what it is. It's the NBA. But I just thought the series was very compelling. Both teams really gave it their all. SGA, I mean, people don't like it. People like it. People don't. I don't know. I personally just feel like it's a product of what's going on in the NBA right now.
Yep.
So you can't get mad at the guy for doing the smart play and baiting the fouls. Don't foul him then. Some of the fouls are. It's the rules. It's not him. Now, granted, he does look a little bit different whenever he doesn't get to the free throw line as much. That's a debate for another day. But I don't really fault him. And if you watch his offensive game,
bro, it's an aspect of the game. Bro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's like complaining about the Eagles doing the tush push.
Right. If you can't beat it, then or find a way to beat it, in which they did in Game 6. He didn't look the same at all. They found a way not to foul him, and he was expecting fouls, and he didn't look the same whenever. So, but I just thought that was an awesome series, and it was just good to see a bunch of, and they're all young players. Like both teams are very, very young, and both teams were just giving it what they had. So it was great to see some good basketball. Besides like the rest of the calls, I thought it was a great series. But so I'm going to take
another thing to point out before we go. I haven't seen, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys who are watching right now, you say it in the chat. I haven't seen Shea complain about the refs, where I've seen many other scoring guards or scoring forwards complain about the refs, where it's like, okay, he's getting all these fouls, but when he doesn't get it, you would think that he'd be like, oh, I should have gotten these calls, like they're fouling me, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, hey, sometimes you're not going to get them. Sometimes you're not going to get the fouls. It is what it is. You got to play better. That's all I hear from him. He doesn't make excuses.
I agree. And it's refreshing as well to hear him whenever, after a loss, he's still the same. And I totally agree with you. You don't see him whining Ergo Luka on the sideline that he didn't get the foul. He's going right back and playing defense. He doesn't let that stuff get him out of his game. And everybody, you can't not hear all the flopper and all that good stuff. And he still stays in that mindset and still does his game. And like he said too, whenever he had that one bad game, I've worked too hard to get to this point to change my game. I'm not going to change my game. Exactly. It works. So respect to SGA.
That's what I was mentioning before. Just because you have one bad game, it doesn't define you. That's why I'm saying I don't think that they should trade away Chet unless it's going to be for Giannis. That's a whole different conversation. But if you're just asking me to trade him away because of that performance, nah, I don't think so. Because you know what he can do on the defensive side and on the offensive side. Like, he was supposed to be the primary player on that team when they drafted him, but then Shea started going crazy.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. Chet was supposed to be the SGA, if you will, before SGA got there or whatever, So whenever he was still Shea Gildress, you know what I mean? He wasn't SGA at that point, but. So I'm going to go ahead and just get back to the what we were talking about before there. I'm taking the Knicks in 6. It sounds fun to say as well. G Mike, what are you taking one more time?
Spurs in 7 and F the Knicks, baby.
There we go. Well said, my friend. All right, we are going to go ahead and wrap this show up tonight. We're a little bit short on this one tonight. We just got to the point and made it all fun for you guys. So really appreciate everything you guys have going on for us. Like, subscribe, follow us wherever you can. Tell anybody you can about it. We got a fun-filled show. We should be back on Friday, 8:30 p.m. Be there, be square, my friend. G-Mike, you got anything else before we take off?
Yeah, guys, just please like, subscribe, share the show with your family, friends, or any sporting event you go to. Share it to the person to your left, to the person to your right. Let them know that Views from the Stands is a sports talk show that you love to listen to on all podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Now we got Twitter as well. Anywhere you want to catch us, you can find us, baby.
Absolutely. We are going to call that one a night. Hopefully the NBA Finals is great for everybody. Game 1 tomorrow night. Don't forget it. And we will be back on Friday. We'll be definitely talking about everything with the NBA Finals come Friday. So have a great week, and we will see you Friday. Have a great night.